Imagine finding a library, a vast ancient archive of scrolls, carefully preserved for millennia. But then, one of them, it isn't papyrus, it isn't parchment, it's metal, etched, not inked, and its contents, not scripture, not history. It's a ledger, a data stream from a forgotten age detailing a fortune so immense it defies belief. This isn't archaeology. This is a cold case, a declassified file screaming for forensic analysis.
The object in question, designated 3Q15, was discovered in Cave 3 at Qumran in 1952. Unlike the other 15 fragments found in that specific cave and the thousands recovered across the Qumran complex, this scroll was composed of nearly pure copper, approximately 99%, measuring 240 centimeters long and 25 to 30 centimeters high when fully unrolled. It was written in a unique form of Mishnaic Hebrew, inscribed with a chisel or burin, then hammered flat and rolled. Its original state was 2 distinct rolls, corroded shut, requiring specialized methods to section into 23 strips for decipherment at the Manchester College of Technology in 1955 and 1956. The sheer physical resistance of the medium to decay is the first anomaly, an intentional choice indicating a profound imperative for information longevity. The text, comprised of 12 columns, details 64 locations, each containing a precise inventory of gold, silver, vessels, and coins. The aggregate value described is colossal, exceeding 100 tons of gold and silver.
100 tons. Let that sink in. For context, the entire known treasury of the First Temple of Jerusalem before its destruction by Babylon was estimated at around, well, a fraction of that. This isn't just a difference in scale, it's a difference in reality.
The textual anomalies begin with its very composition. The other Qumran scrolls are overwhelmingly sectarian literature, biblical texts, or community rules, all written on perishable materials. 3Q15 stands apart, not merely in its metallic form, but in its secular, strictly transactional content. Its orthography and paleography diverge significantly from the scribal practices observed in the other scrolls, aligning more closely with later Mishnaic Hebrew than the Qumranic or biblical scripts. This suggests a different authorial hand, possibly even a different community or era than the Essenes traditionally associated with Qumran. Furthermore, the descriptions of the caches are acutely precise, yet simultaneously ambiguous. For instance, in the large cistern, which is in the court of peristyle, in the recess under the projecting step, a pile of money, 80 talents of silver. Such detail invites investigation, yet the locations themselves are either unidentified or described with such generic terminology under the olive tree in the burial cave as to defy easy geographical identification. The quantities themselves, talents of silver and gold, shekels, countless vessels, paint a picture of an economy and a treasury that simply does not compute with our understanding of any ascetic desert community. It's a data set that overwrites our established historical parameters.
It's a spreadsheet etched in copper from a civilization facing obliteration. And the data it contains, this vast improbable inventory, demands we reconsider who could have amassed it and why it needed to survive such an apocalypse. This isn't just a map. This is a declassified ledger from a vanished past, a desperate survival protocol activated during humanity's darkest hour.
The most compelling theory gaining traction amongst forensic historians posits that the copper scroll represents a partial inventory of the Second Temple's treasury, specifically during the First Jewish-Roman War. As Roman legions under Titus systematically encircled and ultimately destroyed Jerusalem in 70 CE, the Temple, the heart of Jewish spiritual and economic life, would have been the primary target for plunder. The scale of the wealth described in the scroll aligns with historical accounts of the temple's immense riches, far surpassing any local community's assets. The choice of copper, a durable but notoriously difficult medium for extensive writing, becomes rational only under extreme duress and with a singular objective: ensuring long-term data integrity against foreseeable destruction. The act of engraving implies an investment of time, skill, and material resources entirely inconsistent with a small, isolated sect, simply hiding personal valuables. This suggests an institutional mandate, perhaps by a faction of the temple priesthood or zealot leaders, who, realizing the inevitability of the temple's fall, sought to preserve its sacred wealth from Roman desecration and confiscation. They wouldn't have been burying it for recovery in a few years, but for a distant, perhaps generations distant, future where the conditions for retrieval might exist again. The locations, while cryptic to us, would have been precise coordinates to the individuals entrusted with the concealment, likely using a shared understanding of landmarks now lost to time and geopolitical shifts. The 64 entries are not random. They represent a meticulously planned, highly organized extraction and dispersal operation, a last-ditch effort to save a civilization's most critical assets before a total system collapse. Imagine the scene: the city burning, the Roman siege engines battering the walls, and a dedicated team, possibly high-ranking temple officials or their most trusted scribes, frantically chiseling these instructions into metal, not for contemporary use, but as a time capsule, a message in a bottle cast into the ocean of the future, hoping someone would eventually find it. It's a testament to utter desperation, a final act of defiance against a coming obliteration, the digital equivalent of backing up your entire hard drive to an indestructible medium just before the meteor hits. The scroll isn't just about treasure. It's about information survival, a proto-blockchain of cultural patrimony. The peculiar Hebrew and orthography distinct from other Qumran texts further supports this. It could be a deliberately chosen dialect or even a cipher, understood only by those initiated into the temple administration or the resistance movement. A form of access control, a cryptographic layer, ensuring only the intended recipients or their distant descendants could fully interpret these highly sensitive instructions. This wasn't public information. This was a declassified, but still heavily encrypted, strategic operational plan for post-apocalyptic asset recovery. The fact that it was found rolled, sealed, and hidden, not in a temple vault but in a remote cave, underscores the survival protocol aspect. It was placed beyond immediate reach, awaiting a safer era.
So, if this is a survival protocol, an encrypted ledger detailing a desperate last-ditch effort to save an entire civilization's wealth from total annihilation, what happens when that file is finally decrypted? The scroll exists. The instructions are ostensibly there. But the treasure, the physical manifestation of that desperate hope, is gone.
The prevailing consensus among archaeologists and historians is that the caches described in the Copper Scroll were either retrieved in antiquity or looted by the Romans or later factions, or simply remain undiscovered due to the extreme specificity and lost context of the location descriptors. Despite multiple expeditions, including those led by John Allegro himself in the 1960s, none of the 64 caches have ever been definitively located. This isn't just a failure of archaeology, it's a profound echo of the original intent. The information was designed to survive, but its utility was contingent on conditions that never fully reemerged or perhaps were exploited before the scroll's rediscovery. The copper scroll, therefore, functions as a chilling ghost in the machine. It is a perfect record of an unrecoverable reality. It speaks not of a treasure awaiting discovery, but of an immense loss, a systematic erasure. It is a monument to what was saved from initial destruction, only to become untraceable through the mists of time. It tells us that an advanced, organized effort was made to preserve critical assets, a testament to foresight and desperation, but ultimately a testament to futility in the face of history's relentless grinding. The scroll itself survived, the data stream itself persisted, but the payloads it indexed, they remain locked in a perpetual state of missing in action, a declassified ledger from a lost war, still haunting the desert hills. It is the archive that outlived its own purpose, a silent scream of what was lost, and what can never be found again. The information is there, forever legible, but the meaning, the action it demanded, has faded into the unsearchable depths of the past.